She offered to clean for a meal, but what the millionaire discovered was truly transformative. Sam Whitaker stood at the expansive window of his mansion, hands resting on the cool glass. Rain lashed against the surface, mirroring the turmoil in his chest. A millionaire entrepreneur in the tech industry, he lived a life many envied, but each day felt like drowning in gold. The echoes of laughter and celebration from countless rooms rang hollow. He felt like a ghost haunting his own hallways, a lonely figure draped in privilege. For all his success, there was an emptiness gnawing at him, a stark contrast to the bustling world he had built around screens and numbers. Questions turned like gears in his mind, stalling unanswered. Why did the weight of loneliness feel heavier than the accolades he'd earned? As the storm brewed outside, a sudden knock at the door sliced through the silence. Sam hesitated, irritation swelling. Who dared disturb him? When he opened the door, rain-soaked and shivering, stood Maria, a young woman with weary eyes and a small smile. "I can clean your home for a warm meal," she offered, a desperate plea wrapped in humility. For a brief moment, he was struck by a flicker of something compassion. It felt foreign in his meticulously curated life of success. He brushed her off, preoccupied with his own faltering sense of purpose. But before he could close the door, he hesitated. Her gaze held a sincerity that disarmed him. "Please," she implored. "It's just for the night." "Fine," he found himself saying, an impulse that surprised even him. He invited her in, grounding her sadness against the opulence of his home. As she began to clean, her spirit surfaced, and their awkward conversation shifted into a revealing exchange. She, a single mother of two, spoke of hardship and determination, each story releasing a burden from her soul. He listened, the weight of his own frustrations lifting, momentarily forgotten in the light of her resilience. But as Maria unveiled her struggles, Sam felt an uncomfortable churning. How unjust was it that she faced such battles while he lounged in luxury? Why had he never realized how colossal the gap between them was? Doubt crept in like shadows, and he found himself questioning everything: his priorities, his friendships, the very foundation of his life. Could he truly offer to mentor her? The swirling emotions left him dizzy. The elation of hope was intertwined with nagging fear. Had he really seen beyond the crystal chandeliers and designer suits he had surrounded himself with? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amid the gentle sound of cleaning, anxiety prickled Sam's skin. The whispers from his elite circles were growing louder, questioning his motives. He had always played the part of the polished businessman, the reliable friend, but Maria and her unyielding spirit shook him. If he took this leap, this unusual friendship, would it cost him everything he had built? In a world fueled by privilege, would they ever truly understand each other? He found his breath irregular, heart racing as the walls of his familiar life threatened to crumble. And just when he thought clarity was within reach, the painful reality settled heavy in his gut. He stood at the precipice of transformation, facing not just an overwhelming choice, but a flickering connection that could either elevate both of them or obliterate the last shreds of comfort he clung to. As the storm raged outside, he prepared to step forward, the darkness closing in, and in that moment, Maria reached out further into the unknown, leaving their fates hanging dangerously in the balance. The air thickened with a tension Sam could hardly bear. He had always been in control: his companies, his life, even his solitude. But now, standing at the crossroads of vulnerability, he felt a different kind of fear. The very act of letting a stranger into his home, and perhaps into his heart, challenged everything he thought he knew about himself. Maria moved through the vast expanse of his living room, her diligent hands tirelessly scrubbing away the remnants of life that felt far too perfect. Each splash of water felt like a cleansing of his own soured thoughts. Sam watched her work, captivated by her strength despite the struggle she carried. The juxtaposition of her reality against his wealth was striking. He had amassed a fortune that bought him silence and isolation, while she sought to provide warmth and comfort for her children by taking on this arduous task. "Why do you do it?" he asked, the words spilling out before he could rein them in. She stopped, looking up with those same weary but honest eyes. "What choice do I have?" she replied, the weariness in her voice a stark reminder of the responsibilities she shouldered. Every day is a fight for them. Every small victory matters. Does it ever get easier? He found himself probing, curious yet hesitant to delve too deep. She paused, tilting her head as if contemplating the weight of her experiences before responding. "Ease is a luxury, something I don't think I'll ever have. But to be able to provide for them, that's worth the struggle. It has to be." A knot tightened in Sam's chest. He had always approached life from a place of calculation, risk assessment, profit margins, outcomes. Maria spoke from a place of raw emotion, where every choice carried the weight of love and sacrifice. In her, he saw a reflection of strength, but also an uncomfortable challenge to his own motivations. "Have you thought about what comes next?" Sam asked. "What do you want for yourself?" Her brow furrowed. "I want stability for my kids, and maybe a little time to dream again. I put them first." A revelation struck him then, sharp and relatively blinding. Life, for Maria, was not purely about survival. She approached each day with purpose. As he considered his own existence, he felt the hollowness of his own ambitions. What had his wealth afforded him beyond some moments of fleeting pleasure? He didn't have the vibrant pulse of life that she described. He was an observer, peering through a glass wall, while she lived fully, embracing the chaos of her world. An idea sparked within him, fueled by a growing sense of urgency. Could he do more? Could he bridge this divide, bringing some of the promise and opportunity he had taken for granted into her life? The notion both thrilled and terrified him. "Maria," he said, his voice softer, "what if I could help? Not just with a meal or an occasional kindness, but more than that. I mean mentorship, guidance." Her eyes widened in disbelief, and Sam realized how vulnerable he made himself by proposing such an offer. It was one thing to offer financial assistance, but another entirely to offer companionship and commitment to her growth. "I don't know what to say," she stammered, searching his face for sincerity. "If you're willing, I'd like to help you get to where you want to be," he continued, feeling his heart race at the weight of his words. "You could have access to resources, connections. I'd mentor you in a way. You have talent." A silence enveloped them. It was thick with possibility and the threat of vulnerability. Sam saw the flicker of hope in her eyes, but he couldn't ignore the burden of fear that came with opening such a door. "Will you trust me?" he asked, grappling with his own reservations. For a brief moment, the storm outside echoed in the tension of her response. Would he bring brightness into her life, or merely disrupt the stability she fought for? He could feel the crossroads ahead, uncertain of whether to anchor himself further in this connection or retreat to the safety of his familiar loneliness. He awaited her response, ready to embrace the uncertainty, but terrified of what it might reveal about himself next. And just then, the phone buzzed insistently from the kitchen, a jarring reminder that the world outside this bond beckoned for his attention. The buzz of the phone shattered the moment, an urgent reminder of the responsibilities Sam had set aside. He turned toward the sound, a suffocating mix of frustration and anxiety curling in his stomach. It felt like an interruption, a call from the lingering shadows of his corporate world that he longed to escape. Yet, he could feel Maria's gaze still upon him, waiting, questioning. "Just a moment," he muttered, escaping to the kitchen, the tension of his thoughts lingering in the air behind him. He grabbed the phone, glancing at the name flashing on the screen, his business partner, Nathan. The conversation would undoubtedly revolve around fiscal reports, quarterly projections, and strategies that felt increasingly irrelevant in this moment. The prospect of handling numbers and deals felt trivial next to the palpable human connection unfolding in his living room. Sam hesitated, letting the phone still in his hand, wrestling with the decision to silence Nathan's voice, if only temporarily. The thought of returning to the living room, of confronting the emotional weight of his offer, was both thrilling and daunting. He steadied himself, taking a deep breath, and finally picked up. "What is it?" He answered curtly, trying to suppress any noticeable frustration. "Sam, we need to talk about the merger." Nathan's voice boomed through, wispy with urgency. "I just got off the line with the investors, and the numbers aren't aligning. We risk losing a significant percentage if we don't reposition our strategy now." As Nathan continued outlining numbers and projections, Sam found his mind drifting. He visualized Maria again, the way she had paused, the way her eyes had sparked with something like hope. Sitting beside his monstrous bank account and his successful companies, he realized he had been entirely unfulfilled. "Sam, are you following?" Nathan's voice pulled him back to the moment. "Of course," Sam muttered, though his focus had strayed. He realized that this persistent focus on the bottom line perpetuated his isolation. The ambition that once fueled him had become a heavy anchor. What was the point of success if it led to a heart devoid of connection? "I need you in this, you know? We can't afford to treat this lightly," Nathan pressed. The gears in Sam's mind began to shift as he considered his priorities. Was he going to continue living a life scripted by financial spreadsheets? Or would he attempt to redefine what success could mean in the context of human connection? The stark contrast of his empty mansion and Maria's struggle played heavily on his heart. "Listen, Nathan," Sam replied, cutting through the data. "I think we need to reach out to our stakeholders. It's not just about financials anymore." He felt a thrill in his own voice as he forged ahead. "We should focus on the people behind those numbers. Meaningful engagement can shift the tide better than any strategy." "Are you serious?" "This isn't a charity event, Sam." Nathan's disbelief echoed in his ear, yet Sam sensed the words had lost their edge. "Maybe it's time we considered it a little more like that," Sam retorted, surprise coursing through him. A faint determination simmered under his skin. "Let us arrange a meeting. I'll bring fresh perspectives." As he hung up, Sam felt the weight of his decision wash over him, a spark igniting. This wasn't just about revamping his business. It was about shifting his entire outlook on life. He returned to the living room, where Maria stood waiting, her hands resting at her sides, uncertainty shadowing her features. "What did he want?" she inquired, her voice steady yet edged with curiosity. "I need to talk to you," Sam said, conviction folding into his tone. "I realize now that my life needs purpose beyond profit. I want to guide you, but maybe more importantly, I need to learn from you." Her expression shifted, confusion mingling with a flicker of something deeper. He could see the gears turning in her mind as she processed his words. Before she could respond, another wave of thought struck him. Could this be a partnership? A chance for both of them to redefine their purpose? But at that moment, the future felt exhilaratingly unstable, laden with possibilities, yet daunting in its unknown depths. The air was charged with something raw, and as Sam inhaled, he stepped closer, ready to delve deeper into this uncharted territory. This was only the beginning of their intertwining journey, and as he looked in her eyes, he could sense that the real work of understanding, of change was only just starting. Would they be able to navigate this partnership, or would fear pull them back into isolation? The way forward felt as unclear as the storm clouds outside that remained a reminder of the looming uncertainties. The silence settled between them, thick with the weight of unspoken possibilities. Sam felt a pulse of anxiety racing through him as he awaited Maria's response. Her eyes flickered with something akin to hope, yet the uncertainty lingered, a stark reminder of the chasm his previous life had created. "Do you really mean that?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. It felt as though every breath she took shifted the air in the room, amplifying the tension surrounding them. "Yes," he said, firming the resolve in his chest. "I want to understand what drives you, what motivates you to keep pushing forward despite the odds." The truth of his words began to settle within him, a burgeoning realization that seeking connection and purpose mattered more than his prior fixation on profits. Maria's gaze softened, and for a fleeting moment, Sam saw the flicker of potential realization in her expression, as if she might just see in him the same yearning for something greater. Still, doubt sat heavy in the corners of her eyes. "It's not that simple, Sam. I'm just trying to survive." Her words chipped away at the resolve he had just built, reminding him of the very walls he was attempting to break through. He understood the weight of her struggles, had seen firsthand the burdens she carried. In many ways, their paths had intertwined without either of them realizing it, both caught in cycles of their own making. "Maybe we can help each other," Sam proposed, the notion surfacing almost hesitantly. "I have resources, but I lack direction. You know what it means to struggle, to fight for every opportunity. If you're willing to work together, we can create something that benefits both of us." "It's a risk," she countered, crossing her arms protectively. Sam could see the flicker of hope battling with the fear of disappointment. Her caution was sensible. The world had conditioned her to be wary of powerful men who promised change. "I understand," he replied gently. "But isn't risk a part of life? How else do we grow?" His voice was steady, though inside, the churning worry threatened to spill over. What if he couldn't deliver on the promises he was making? The moment hung, suspended in time. He felt the soft thrum of vulnerability as he laid himself bare before her. Would she trust him enough to explore this path together, or was it too late for second chances? Finally, Maria nodded, a flicker of determination igniting in her eyes. "Okay," she acquiesced slowly, "but we'll need a plan. If we're going to this together, we have to set some goals." A wave of relief washed over him. It felt like a solid foundation was finally forming beneath their tentative alliance. He could envision ideas sprouting, a myriad of ways they might connect, engage with their communities, and redefine success beyond mere numbers. As they began exchanging thoughts, brainstorming ideas that might weave their lives together, Sam felt a liberating exhilaration. He was no longer confined by spreadsheets and cold calculations. Instead, a tangible warmth began to unfurl in the depths of his spirit, urging him to explore this new territory with Maria. However, the excitement of possibility also bore a darker undercurrent. There were realities he hadn't faced: the corporate culture that continued to encircle him, the looming pressure from Nathan, who would never accept such unorthodox methods easily. It called into question how long he could hold on to both worlds and keep them from colliding. What will Nathan think? Maria voiced the unspoken concern, her brow furrowed. "I'll confront him," Sam replied, a new surge of determination filling him. It was time he faced the very obstacles that kept him shackled to an unsatisfying reality. "I want to make this a priority." As they mapped out their intentions, Sam felt the burden of the old world lift inch by inch, but he also sensed the mounting pressure of decisions yet to be made. Could he maintain this newfound purpose while navigating the criticisms from Nathan and the demands of a ruthless industry? Would the journey ahead be transformative, enough to reshape the lives of not just the two of them, but also those around them? The taste of uncertainty lingered, tantalizing and dreadful, and as Maria reached across the table, her hand brushing against his, their connection deepening, Sam realized perhaps the most challenging part had yet to occur. How would he confront the shadows of his past life while forging ahead toward this uncertain future? Clarity emerged with a single thought: he could no longer compartmentalize his life. He must fully embrace both the hurdles and the liberating potential of their partnership. The moment of reckoning was on the horizon, and as he gazed into Maria's eyes, he knew the path forward would demand a reckoning against the very fabric of what he had built. But first, he would have to deal with Nathan, and that confrontation would pave the way for everything that followed. The day arrived, shrouded in a veil of tension, as Sam approached Nathan's office, the weight of his dual ambitions pressing down upon him. He could still feel the heat of Maria's hand in his, an encouraging warmth against the chill that gripped his resolve. He inhaled deeply, steadying himself, the scent of polished wood and corporate ambition filling his lungs. As he rapped gently on the door, his hand wavered momentarily. What was he truly prepared to fight for? The skyscrapers that loomed outside were stark reminders of what success had once meant to him, the facades of power, money, and influence. But those values were quietly crumbling in the rush of change he could sense brewing inside. "Come in," Nathan's voice boomed. Sam pushed the door open and stepped through, the atmosphere instantly heavy with expectation. Nathan was seated behind a massive desk cluttered with schemes and contracts, a king presiding over his kingdom. "Sam, what's on your mind?" Nathan leaned back casually, eyes scanning Sam with a mixture of curiosity and condescension, as if measuring not just words, but worth. "I've been thinking about our direction," Sam began, forcing confidence into his voice, though his insides churned with uncertainty. "I want to pivot our focus." "Oh," Nathan's eyebrows shot up, interest peaked. "Do tell." "Maria, and I believe there's an opportunity to create something that resonates more deeply with our community. Something purposeful." The words tumbled out, fueled by the glimpse of possibility he had shared with Maria. Yet the moment they were spoken, doubt clung to them like a second skin. Nathan's expression turned incredulous, lips curling in disbelief. "You want to divert resources, funding into some altruistic venture? Are you out of your mind?" "That's exactly what I'm proposing." "Yes," Sam replied, grounding himself against the pressure of his uncertainties. "We can impact lives while also enhancing our brand loyalty. It's not just smart business, it's the right thing to do." Nathan exploded in laughter, a mockery of the purity that Sam sought. "You think this is about right or wrong? This is about survival. If you want to appease your conscience, pick a charity. Do it under the table. But this? Don't be foolish." The air crackled with tension as Sam sat in the eye of the storm, grappling with clarity. Nathan's words were a repelling force against the magnetism of purpose he had begun to feel. It was no longer just about resisting paths already taken. It was about deliberately choosing a new one, and it wouldn't come easily. "Do you want to stand behind your profits or behind something that changes lives?" Sam thrust the question into the space between them, watching Nathan's eyes narrow, a flicker of hostility igniting. "This isn't some charity operation, Sam," Nathan snapped, leaning forward. "This is a business. You get that, right? You've made commitments. I'm ready to challenge those commitments," Sam asserted, voice steady but laced with the tremor of revolution. "I have more than just my mind invested in this. There's a lot at stake here. My integrity is at stake." The silence hung heavily, thick with an unyielding tension that left Sam questioning everything he thought he knew. Did Nathan sense the fracture, the budding defiance in his soul? "Integrity doesn't pay the bills." Nathan's tone sharpened, dangerously low. "You may think you could reshape your career today, but that's naive. We're in a ruthless game, and I don't expect someone like you to even understand." Somewhere deep inside Sam, a voice screamed in protest. He could no longer hang onto his past, nor allow Nathan to define his future. Could he truly embrace change? Every word uttered felt like a budding revelation, chipping away the remnants of fear that had anchored him. "I'm leaving," Sam stated firmly, feeling gravity shift. "I know what I stand for now, and I'm drawn to something greater. I won't be pulled down by past choices." As he turned to leave, adrenaline coursing through his veins, Nathan's voice called after him sharp, biting. "This isn't over, Sam. You'll regret stepping away." And with that, Sam felt a flood of clarity wash over him. He realized his true confrontation for the first time. It was not just against Nathan, but within himself. The challenge of embracing vulnerability, of leaning into uncertainty, was something he would have to face head-on. With the door closing softly behind him, he stepped into the future he was beginning to shape with Maria. But even as potential blossomed, the chilling breath of conflict lingered. How far would Nathan go to retain control? And would Sam's resolve hold against the storm that was about to descend upon him? The moment of clarity had arrived, but no one could deny the lurking shadows of sacrifice that awaited in the journey ahead. What Sam didn't fully grasp yet was just how high the stakes would become and whether that very commitment to his newfound path could withstand the impending fallout. Sam stepped into the brisk air outside the building, the weight of his choice pressing against him like a palpable force. The sunlight felt different, almost alien against the backdrop of his previous life. Each step away from Nathan's office felt like shedding an old skin, the past still clinging to him despite the resolve igniting within. Had he truly escaped, or was he merely pausing before a larger battle? His thoughts spiraled as he walked aimlessly through the nearby park, the sounds of children laughing mingling with the rustling leaves. Every footfall echoed his uncertainty. What did it mean to pursue something greater? Could he align his personal values with the ambitions he once thought noble? The dichotomy gnawed at him. But if there was one thing he knew for certain, it was that he needed to act. He pulled out his phone and called Maria. "Meet me at the cafe," he said, try to inject energy into his words. They had both envisioned a future where integrity and community intersected now. It was time to breathe life into that vision. The cafe. Maria's enthusiasm contrasted sharply with the weight Sam carried. Her eyes sparkled when he shared the details of his confrontation with Nathan, but he noticed the flicker of concern as he described the aftermath. "You're sure about this?" she asked softly, her hands wrapped around her coffee cup as if it could ground them both. "I have to be," he replied, determination sharpening his resolve. "I can't go back. It's not just about Nathan. It's about what I stand for." Maria nodded, her understanding palpable and invigorating. "Then let us figure out how we can build this vision together. What do you want to prototype?" A quiet thrill coursed through him at the thought of creation, but apprehension lurked just behind it. What if the idea fails? What if Nathan swings back harder than I expect? "Failure is just feedback," she said, leaving no room for self-doubt. "Let us focus on what we can control, our vision, our execution. Start small, and if it resonates, we grow from there." Her confidence ignited a flicker of excitement within him. They brainstormed, crafting a concept that mirrored their shared values. A platform that connected local artisans to the community, allowing individuals to showcase their talents while fostering genuine relationships, away from Nathan's cold, corporate structure. Days turned into weeks as they embarked on this new journey, diving into market research, exploring ways to showcase their vision without the financial backing that had once defined Sam's career. They rented a booth at a local farmer's market, which felt like a daring leap into the unknown. Unfazed by the lack of grandeur, Sam found joy in the authenticity of their interactions with customers, each conversation a thread weaving their purpose into the fabric of the community. As the market day arrived, nerves coursed through him. Would anyone care about what they were creating? Or had he merely spun a dream unmoored from reality? Halfway through the day, he caught sight of a local artist displaying handmade crafts across from them. Their smiles exchanged over the bustling market sparked something deep within him, a reflection of the genuine interactions he craved to foster. But as the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the pavement, he noticed a figure approaching. Nathan, his stature as imposing as when Sam had left him. The confrontation felt inevitable, churning in his gut. Was Nathan here to dismantle everything Sam had fought for? Or was there a possibility for dialogue? Tension hung in the air as Nathan approached, and Sam felt the world narrow to this pivotal moment. Would he uphold the commitment to his newfound purpose, or would he falter under the weight of Nathan's power? The second he opened his mouth to speak, Sam knew his journey was just beginning. The real test of his resolve was about to unfold in ways he could hardly comprehend, but one truth resonated. Whatever the outcome, he was ready to confront the inevitable storm ahead. As Nathan drew closer, Sam's heart raced, each beat loud and insistent in his ears. Fear and excitement intermingled, creating a tight knot in his stomach. The vibrant colors of the market blurred at the edges, as if the atmosphere was holding its breath in anticipation of this moment. He could feel the weight of his choices bearing down on him. It was more than just a personal encounter. It was emblematic of his entire journey. "Sam," Nathan greeted, a calculated smile etched onto his face that contrasted sharply with the storm brewing inside Sam. It was the same smile he had wielded like a sword, sharp enough to cut through resolve. "I didn't expect to find you here. I must say, I'm surprised you didn't stick to what you know best." "I'm not the same person I was, Nathan," Sam replied, forcing his voice to stay steady despite the tremor beneath. This wasn't merely a confrontation. It was a declaration of his evolution, and he wouldn't let Nathan's intimidation unravel it. Nathan's eyebrow arched, a flicker of amusement dancing in his eyes. "And yet here you are, selling trinkets at a farmer's market. That is quite the step down from board meetings and strategies." "I senti it." A rush of indignation surged through Sam, but he tempered it, focusing instead on the truth behind Nathan's mockery. "I'm creating something real, something that matters. This is about reconnecting with people, not manipulating them." The weight of Nathan's gaze pressed against him, gauging his sincerity. "And what exactly do you think you're building? A community? You know that the real world doesn't bend to idealism, Sam. Reality is driven by profit and power." A silent moment stretched between them, the market sounds fading as Nathan's words sank deep. Sam felt the shards of self-doubt threatening to resurface, but he locked eyes with Nathan, refusing to back down. "It's not just about profit. I've realized that authenticity matters more than ambition." Nathan chuckled softly, a sound that felt more dangerous than dismissive. "Authenticity? That's rich coming from someone who just walked away from a lucrative career. We both know it's a dangerous game you're playing." Defiance bubbled up, pushing aside apprehension. "If it's dangerous to strive for integrity, then I'll bear the risk. I refuse to stand idly by and let you dictate my path or my values." A flicker of something akin to respect crossed Nathan's face, but it vanished quickly, replaced by a sharp, steely demeanor. "You're bold, Sam. I'll give you that. But you're making a grave mistake if you think I'll let this slide. You're in my territory now." Sam felt the familiar rush of fear cascade through him. But it was different this time, fueled by determination rather than desperation. Nathan might have had the power of influence and money, but he didn't understand the tenacity of someone pursuing truth. "I'm not afraid of you, Nathan." The silence that hung between them crackled with tension before Nathan finally stepped back, a smirk lurking at the corners of his mouth. "We'll see how long that bravado holds up. I'll be watching closely." As Nathan walked away, Sam felt a mix of relief and urgency. This was not the final clash he had anticipated, but a challenge nonetheless. Now he was faced with the reality of staking his claim in a world dominated by cold, calculated maneuvers. Still, as overwhelming as it felt, the confrontation infused him with clarity. Wiping sweat from his palms against his denim jeans, he turned back to the bustling market, the vibrant energy juxtaposing the darkness that lingered in Nathan's shadow. There was still work to be done, strategies to outline, and a vision to nurture, but his newfound purpose felt more solid, more tangible than ever before. Over the following days, Sam and Maria dove deeper into their project, refining it and testing every idea amidst the whirlwind of their shared enthusiasm. Each small success seemed to bolster his confidence. They were crafting their narrative, one that diverged sharply from Nathan's corporate machinations. Yet, beneath the surface of this budding venture lay a gnawing anxiety of fear of whether their integrity alone could withstand the type of storm Nathan represented. Would their dreams flourish, or was he just a precursor of the greater challenges ahead? As this uncertainty loomed close, one truth crystallized. Each setback would teach him resilience. Each encounter deepened his resolve. Sam understood that confronting Nathan wasn't the end of his struggle, but the catalyst for the transformation he sought. Just as adrenaline fueled his vision for the future, he felt the familiar tug of confrontation looming on the horizon, more urgent than ever. Would he have the strength to uphold his principles in the face of adversity, or would the shadows of his past threaten to reclaim him? The battle for his future was only just beginning. Sam's mornings transformed into rituals. He woke before dawn, the darkness still clinging to the edges of the sky, and slipped into his modest office space, a corner of the market that had become his sanctuary. As the first rays of sun spilled through the windows, he immersed himself in planning sessions with Maria. They shared ideas, sketches, and strategies, weaving a tapestry of aspirations that felt both grand and attainable. Each discussion with Maria ignited sparks of creativity. They brainstormed ways to enhance their offering at the market, fusing practicality with artistry, appealing to the community's desires while staying true to their mission of authenticity. But lurking beneath their enthusiasm was Sam's escalating unease. Nathan's threat loomed large in the back of his mind. The confrontation replayed like a looped film, reminding him that his ascent wasn't without peril. Days passed, thick with a blend of hope and anxiety. Sam took inventory of their progress and milestones, yet the specter of Nathan taunted him at every turn. He audited their every choice, questioning if it was boldness or naivete propelling them forward. Each small setback forced him to confront a crucial dilemma. Could integrity and idealism survive in a ruthless business landscape? On a particularly busy Saturday, after a week of stress and uncertainty, a woman approached his stall. She was disheveled yet determined, her eyes filled with an earnest hunger that transcended physical nourishment. "I can clean your space for a meal," she said, the words tumbling out, raw and unguarded. Sam hesitated, unsure of how to respond. His natural inclination was to offer her help, not take advantage of her situation. But as her gaze pierced through him, he felt an unexpected connection. It reminded him of his own struggles to reclaim purpose in a transactional world. "Let us talk first," he offered, pulling out a chair. They exchanged stories of dialogue of broken dreams and new beginnings. Her name was Alex, and she had once been a senior marketing executive, much like Sam, until life had dealt her an unrelenting series of blows. Their experiences echoed, unveiling vulnerabilities they both recognized in each other. In that moment, Sam felt a shift. Engaging with Alex revealed a hidden depth within himself. He realized that everyone had their narrative. Her willingness to barter for survival sparked something transformational inside him. It was a reminder that genuine connections could thrive, even in a world dictated by power and profit. With a firm resolve, he decided to extend his hand. They agreed to let her clean in exchange for a warm meal and a small stipend. It was a symbolic act, one that both validated her struggle and reinforced his commitment to integrity. As they worked together, Alex shared insights into marketing strategies, approaching the need for consumer connection with a refreshing perspective devoid of manipulation. It was as if life orchestrated this meeting. They both stood to benefit, and from her wisdom, Sam gleaned lessons he hadn't anticipated. Their rapport blossomed against the backdrop of the bustling market, where ideas morphed into palpable action. Sam found himself reflecting deeply on what they discussed. Alex's insights challenged his previous notions, urging him to rethink his strategy with a human-centric approach. Weeks rolled into a month, and just as Sam began to feel a sense of security, he spotted Nathan strolling down the market aisle with an entourage. Anxiety pooled in his stomach like a weighted anchor. Sam's instinct was to hide, but Alex's voice echoed in his head, "Stand firm in your truth." With a deep breath, Sam squared his shoulders. Facing Nathan again felt different. He was no longer the same man who had fled the corporate battlefield, uncertain and fearful. He had allies now, both seen and unseen, and a purpose that demanded reclamation. The confrontation unearthed questions that clawed at him. How would he counter Nathan's influence? And what could he learn from this renewed challenge? As Nathan approached, with his inimitable air of authority, Sam felt the pull of inevitable conflict spiraling closer. Would he possess the strength to retain his principles while buckling under the weight of Nathan's ambitions? The moment was upon him, one that would shape his path irrevocably as the cycle of resilience, growth, and battle rotated onward. Sam braced himself as Nathan closed the distance. a force of nature surrounded by his entourage. The familiar sense of intimidation threatened to wrap around him once more, but he clung to the newfound resolve ignited by his interactions with Alex. This time, he wouldn't shrink in the shadow of Nathan's towering presence. "Good to see you, Sam," Nathan drawled, a smirk playing on his lips. The condescension was palpable, a predator circling its prey, yet Sam felt an odd stillness within him. He had learned to identify the truth beneath Nathan's insincerity. "Thanks, Nathan. How's your latest venture?" Sam asked, striving for levity but feeling the weight of the moment. Nathan's business conquests had a reputation for devouring smaller players, something that held true as a tactic, but also demonstrated that success did not always equate to virtue. Nathan's eyes glinted, the confidence of someone accustomed to dominance. "Oh, better than expected, but I'm here to check in on you. I've heard rumors you might be stepping out of your league." Each word dripped with thinly veiled menace. "You should know that everything comes with a price." Sam's heart rate quickened, not out of fear, but from a surge of clarity. He realized this was not just a confrontation. It was a pivotal moment in defining who he wanted to be. Armed with the lessons from Alex, he pushed through the illogic of dread. "I'm in my league, Nathan," he declared, trying to project steadiness. "I'm focused on building something authentic, grounded in community, and I believe that it's worth far more than what you've priced it at." Laughter erupted from Nathan's group, and Sam felt the heat of embarrassment rising to his cheeks. But rather than letting it serve as a retreat, it strengthened his resolve. While Nathan tried to play the part of the unyielding mogul, Sam remained centered, connecting with the truth he now understood so deeply. Something in him stirred a pulse of passion mixed with defiance. "Authenticity?" Nathan scoffed. "That sounds like a nice way to stay irrelevant. This market is brutal, and people buy based on trends and profit margins, not warming meals and community. You're setting yourself up for failure, Sam." Pain sliced through Sam as the specter of doubt momentarily flickered. Was he being foolish in his ideals? But then Alex's perspective flickered back in his mind, her wisdom challenging the traditional paradigms that Nathan thrived on. "I've learned that fostering genuine relationships drives long-term success," Sam replied, more firmly this time. "People crave more than just products. They want to feel connected. Our marketplace reflects that, and I'm not afraid to invest in it." Nathan's expression shifted. Beneath the facade of control and superiority, cracks of disbelief began to show. Sam seized on that fracture. "You might thrive in the trenches of competition, but I'm building a bridge. The world has room for multiple approaches, Nathan, and I'm willing to claim my space." Anxiety faded, replaced by a sense of empowerment. This confrontation, riddled with risk, was also an opportunity for growth. Nathan, stung but not defeated, leaned closer, eyes narrowing. "We'll see if your ideals can withstand the storm coming your way, Sam." With that, Nathan turned, his entourage following in hesitant silence. Sam stood rooted in place, a cocktail of emotions swirling inside him: relief, hope, and an instinctive awareness that this was just the beginning of a much larger conflict. In the ensuing silence, the bustling market resumed its energy, customers moving past the spectacle unaware of the shift that had just occurred. Sam turned back to his stall, fueled by a deeper conviction. He had spoken his truth, and though not unscathed, he realized he had sparked something more powerful than fear visioned. In the days that followed, as he and Alex continued to work together, conversations deepened, strategies evolved, and choices were reconsidered. Every interaction was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity. But Nathan's words lingered hauntingly. What if this storm was bigger than he could handle? The market buzzed with life, but within Sam, a storm brewed of its own, pushing him toward a pivotal question. Was he truly prepared to defend his vision, not just from Nathan, but from the very doubts that threatened to undo him? As he stood there, contemplating the path forward, he felt the horizon shift, shaping the next phase of his journey. And with each step toward that unknown, the question tightened around him: would he have the courage to confront not just Nathan, but the shadows of his own insecurities? The answer lay ahead, and it beckoned him with the poignant familiarity of a distant echo. Sam Whitaker stood outside, the sun pouring down in warm rays, wrapping around him like a newfound purpose. The confrontation with Nathan had left a mark, but instead of fear, he felt an exhilarating surge of determination. The shadows of doubt that once taunted him began to recede, replaced by a clear vision of the future he wanted to embrace with Maria and Alex. This day marked a turning point. It was no longer just about functionality in the tech world, but about rekindling the human connections he had taken for granted. As he returned to the booth at the market, he saw Maria setting up their latest display, a collage of local artisans and their stories. Each piece told a tale, weaving a tapestry of hope, resilience, and the love for what they created. With Alex's marketing insights guiding them, they had shifted their focus to not just selling products, but sharing why those products mattered. People were not just buying, they were connecting. This shift breathed life back into Sam. No longer was he searching for fulfillment in spreadsheets and numbers. He found it in the faces of the community around them. Running a business was never without its challenges, but he viewed obstacles through a transformed lens. Rather than feeling daunted by Nathan's threats or the weight of uncertainty, he chose to see them as catalysts for innovation. Every struggle was an opportunity to refine their mission, and every interaction at the market was a chance to reaffirm their commitment to authenticity. The whispers of doubt were drowned out by the laughter of children, the murmur of genuine conversations, and the thrill of forging bonds. With each passing week, their project gained traction. Foot traffic increased, and so too did the trust in their brand. Customers began to recognize them not just for what they sold, but for their unwavering integrity. Sam's confidence flourished. The panic of losing business was exchanged for the thrill of urging change within his community. Maria stood by him as an equal partner, their collaboration blossoming into a rich, creative synergy that inspired both of them. One afternoon, as they celebrated a particularly successful market day, Sam's phone buzzed with an unexpected message, a request to meet from Nathan. The weight of those words settled in the pit of his stomach. This was the moment he had anticipated since their last altercation. Part of him wanted to hide. Another part understood that he had not come this far to cower. The stakes were too high, and the vision they were constructing together was too precious to abandon. "Sam," Maria asked, noticing his hesitation, "are you okay?" He took a breath, transforming fear into conviction. "I need to meet with him," he replied, the resolve in his voice unmistakable. "You can't let him intimidate you," Maria cautioned. "You've built something real here. Don't let him tear you down." "I won tea," he reassured her, the look of confidence returning as he made his decision. "I know who I am now. I'm not going to let him dictate my path." This new certainty washed through him, propelling him forward to confront the very shadows that haunted him. The meeting was set for the following day. As the sun dipped below the horizon that evening, painting the sky in breathtaking hues, Sam reflected on all he had accomplished, the profound connections made, the community he had begun to build, and the way both Maria and Alex inspired him to become a better version of himself. Each achievement was a verification of his purpose, a testament that he was capable of creating meaningful change, not just within himself, but in the lives of others. When the day of the meeting arrived, Sam sat across from Nathan with newfound confidence. The corporate leader exuded an imposing presence, but Sam felt neither apprehensive nor defeated. This was no longer a battle for power. It was a conversation about possibility. As they discussed the latest market trends, Sam articulated his vision, not as a man on the defense, but as one assertively carving a space that honored authenticity and connection. Nathan's eyes narrowed as Sam spoke, absorbing every word, perhaps bewildered by the conviction emanating from his former colleague. Sam spoke about the impact of their venture, emphasizing heartfelt stories over numerical data, and he could see Nathan weighing the words carefully, slowly grasping that there was a power in authenticity he had overlooked. After the meeting, Sam walked away with a profound sense of achievement. He had confronted not just Nathan, but the insecurities that had long clouded his judgment. He didn't simply hold his ground, he reshaped the conversation entirely. Nathan, once an imposing threat, had transformed into a mere reminder of the past Sam had overcome. As he returned to Maria and Alex, a gentle warmth spread through him. He realized he had stepped into his power, not only as a businessman, but as a catalyst for positive change. There would always be challenges, yes, but he was no longer tempted by the allure of the corporate race. Instead, he felt the joy of creating a legacy rooted in integrity and connection in the heart of the market, surrounded by laughter and community. Sam knew this was only the start. His journey was alive and vibrant, filled with purpose, a testament to the power of transformation. The shadows of his past were no longer chains. They had become stepping stones leading him toward an authentic life of fulfillment. And just as he stepped forward into this bright future, he felt the undeniable urge he needed to share this journey with others who might be lost in their own. So, with renewed zest, he turned to his community. "Let us build this together," he proclaimed. "Who else with me?" His voice echoed strong and resonant. As faces turned toward his, glimmers of recognition sparked, each person a pillar in the fresh vision rising before them. This journey was more than just a personal transformation. It was the dawn of a shared future, igniting hope in every corner of the community he had come to cherish. We are all capable of remarkable change. Embracing authenticity is only the beginning. So now is your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive emotional stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support elevates these powerful narratives. Comment on your reactions and theories about this conclusion. We want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey. You need to spread this transformative message. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share.